People may respect you more than you think, not because they say it out loud, not because they compliment you, but because they adjust around you. They pause before answering. They explain themselves when you didn't ask. They stop pushing after one real no. And if you're a quiet person, you've probably been misreading those signals your entire life. You don't brag. You don't force attention. You don't try to be the loudest in the room. But when the loudest people get noticed first, you start asking yourself, has being quiet made me invisible? It hasn't. Sometimes people aren't ignoring you. They're measuring themselves around you. And there is a difference. Sign 1. When you speak, the room pauses differently than it does for other people. Not because you're loud, because they've learned something. When you finally say something, it means something. You waited. You listened. You didn't spend 10 minutes proving you were smart. And when you do speak, the conversation shifts. Someone repeats your idea later. The loudest person becomes more careful. Respect isn't always applause. Sometimes it's silence after your sentence. Sign 2. People bring you their real problems, not their highlight reels. They come to you when the relationship is falling apart, when they're scared to leave a job, when they did something they're embarrassed to admit. They're not showing you the polished version, they're showing you the part they usually hide. That is not random. People only open up like that to the person they trust, not to make them feel stupid for being honest. That is respect, even if they never call it that. Sign 3. They come to you when they need the truth, not just reassurance. There's a difference between being liked and being respected. People go to someone they like when they want to hear, "You're fine, don't worry." They come to someone they respect when they're ready to hear what they already know. When they ask you, "Be honest, was I wrong?" they're not looking for comfort. They're looking for clarity. And they came to you because they trust you to give it. Sign 4. They test your limits less after your first real no. Some people will try you once, a last-minute favor, an assumption that you'll adjust. Then you say no. Not with a 5-paragraph apology, just, "That doesn't work for me." And something shifts. The next request comes earlier. The next ask includes no pressure. Your calm is not permission. Your kindness is not a blank check. People only keep pressing the people they believe will eventually fold. Sign 5. People remember what you said, even when you said it quietly, even when you weren't sure it mattered. You mentioned something weeks ago. You moved on. Then one day someone brings it back. "I've been thinking about what you said." They repeat your words to someone else. They make a different choice because of one sentence you barely remember saying. That is influence. Not from volume, from weight. Sign 6. People act differently the moment they realize you noticed something. Other people assume your silence means you were unaware. They make small comments. They exclude you in quiet ways. Then, one day, you mention a detail from 3 weeks ago, calmly, without anger. Their face changes. They realize your silence was never absence. You were noticing patterns, not to punish, to protect. Sign 7. Your absence changes the energy. You leave a job and the people say it's not the same. You stop texting first and the friendship fades, revealing you were carrying more of it than you realized. You skip one gathering and someone asks, "Where are you?" It feels different without you. Popular people are noticed when they enter. Respected people are noticed when they're gone. That can hurt. Quiet people get tired of being appreciated late, of being the one who held things together without anyone asking if you were okay. You were not running the room. You weren't demanding attention. But when you pulled back, something felt less steady, and they noticed then when it was already gone. That hurt is real, but it's also information. Your presence had weight all along. Here's something that needs to be said. Being quiet doesn't automatically make you respected. If your silence comes from fear, if you never say what bothers you, never set limits, never show where you stand, you don't look mysterious. You become easier to ignore. The goal isn't to disappear and hope people notice. It's to be quiet with standards. Quiet enough to observe, clear enough to be understood, kind enough to stay human, strong enough to say no when something crosses a line. That is the version of quiet that earns respect. Not the quiet that shrinks. The quiet that chooses when to speak and means it when it does. You'll see it in the pause before they answer you, in the way they ask for your opinion when the room gets messy, in the way they stop treating your time like spare change. And maybe the most important sign, you stop needing everyone to say it out loud, because their behavior already told you. If you've spent years being the quiet one, the sensitive one, the person who noticed everything and said very little, maybe you were never as invisible as you thought. Maybe some people were never ignoring your presence. Maybe they were adjusting to it the whole time. Before you go, think of someone in your life who shows up quietly, never asks for credit, and somehow makes everything feel a little steadier. Have you told them you notice? Because they probably don't know. And if this described you, you're not alone. Drop a few words below. I read them carefully.